Hello and welcome to the Supporting Self-Management service. This information video is to give you as much insight into the service as a whole and the groups it will be providing, and that will hopefully help you make an informed choice as to whether this is something that you'd like to come along to. So here is our information session format and what to expect in this video. We'll start off with a quick hello from the team, explore what is self-management, an introduction to adverse childhood experiences, a wee reflective exercise in the form of the self-management colour wheel, the cycle of change, group format, the content that we'll be covering and the materials required, our attendance policy, the group guidelines and remote delivery agreement, a bit on crisis management, and we'll end with some quotes from past group members. My name is Ashley. My name is Demi and I'm one of the group facilitators.
Hello, my name is Marianne, I'm one of the group facilitators. Hello, my name is Emily, I'm one of the support and self-management facilitators.
So I'm just going to explain a little bit about what is self-management as well as what is the self-management service and what we do. Our service was set up so that we could deliver groups and provide you with all of the information that you need in relation to managing yourself. You might find that when you've come along to appointments within health services, you have a limited amount of time, and within that time you may be discussing a particular problem, which obviously is something that is required. However, what our service is about is giving you everything that you need in terms of what are the things I can do for myself just now, and that's a way of empowering you to have sort of ownership over your health, your well-being and your life. So it's about sort of learning new skills and tools to better manage your health. Being able to work better in partnership with healthcare professionals. So if you're aware of all the things that you can do to look after yourself and you can get help to continue to do that, I mean, we recognise that self-management is a lifelong process. It's, never something that we just do and then we're sorted. This is something that we have to do continuously. So this can form a big part of the work that you engage in with healthcare professionals, as well as identifying where things maybe aren't working for you and problem solving that. So it's about sort of taking charge of your healthcare as well, and giving you as much information and knowledge and evidence as possible so that you can choose what was right for you, as well as getting support from other people in a similar situation. So within the groups that we run, you will get to meet other people, who maybe have similar experiences to you, and that can be really helpful and supportive. You'll see behind me I've got a pyramid of needs, so I'm going to put this up on the screen. So this is what we call a hierarchy of needs, and we'll introduce this and explain this a bit more within the group. But this is basically a hierarchy of human needs, what we need as human beings to function. And within our service, we're going to work our way through this pyramid and it will help you sort of prioritise maybe what needs to be worked on above something else. So if we go down to the bottom of that pyramid, we'll see we've got, as human beings, we need breathing, we need to be able to breathe, we need food, we need water, we need shelter. If we don't have those things, we're not going to be able to survive. So once we have those needs met, we need to be able to keep safe. We need our body and our mind to be safe. When that happens, what do we need next? We need love and belonging and social supports and social networks around us. Then from there, we have a need for self-respect and self-esteem, to feel good about ourselves, and then to reach our full potential. So you can hopefully see here from this pyramid that if we have all of these needs met, we're going to function at our very, very best. Often when people do come into services, they might identify problems here, like the way that you're feeling about yourself might be actually relationship difficulties, or it might be, having issues with regards to keeping yourself safe. And what we often find though, however, is there are more problems down here. And if we haven't dealt with these issues, it's going to be really hard to sort out these ones. So this is what I mean by prioritising our needs. So we'll start off looking at the basic needs, so diet, sleep, exercise, for example. And then we'll move up this hierarchy towards the end. And this is how we'll structure our group. Just a bit of background around some of the evidence around the work that we're doing. There was a study called Adverse Childhood Experiences, or ACEs. We ask everybody to complete an ACEs questionnaire as part of the referral. And the reason being that more often than not, it's not always the case, however, often is the case that when people come into mental health services, there have been past experiences, particularly childhood experiences, that are having an impact today. So we know that, what we're talking about here are events or situations that cause what we call the chronic stress response. And this is the sort of important part here, the stress response. If we're constantly under a state of stress, it's going to have an impact on us physically and mentally. The ACEs typically fall into three main categories: abuse, neglect, and adversity. And like I say, we're not saying that everybody has been through adverse childhood experiences. And the main point we want to pull from this is this idea of chronic stress. If we're under chronic stress, it's going to have an impact on us. And we'll show you how this impact relates. It's got adverse childhood experiences or adverse experiences, then go on to impact us socially. So it might be lack of support around us, how we engage with that support around us, being isolated, social networks being actually quite harmful. Might also impact on the way we feel emotionally. So how we feel about ourselves and about others, the intensity or instability of our emotions, might feel out of control, or cognitively, so the way that we think, might identify that the way we think about ourselves, about other people, or about the world around us is actually problematic. It's these problems, so the social, emotional and cognitive or thinking problems, that lead to adopting health risk behaviours. So health risk behaviours could be, there's a huge range of health risk behaviours, anything from poor diet to quite extreme dietary problems such as overeating or undereating, sleep difficulties. Might be things like sort of substance misuse, poor exercise. We might be engaging in behaviours that are actually causing us further harm. And it's these behaviours that then lead to and cause disease, disability, and further social problems. And then that's going to add to our difficulties, and that is what is linked to early death. Which may sound harsh and difficult, but we know that there's a direct link between these things. But we also know, and this is the positive and hopeful message, is that there's something that we can do about this. There isn't anything that we can do about what has happened to us in the past. That's something that we won't be looking at within our group. What we are doing is sort of giving you the skills that you need to address these difficulties here. So socially, emotionally, and the way that we're thinking, addressing those problems, finding healthier ways to manage emotions, healthier ways to think, or to manage our thinking, improving our social supports, and that's likely to reduce this risk here in the way that we behave. And if we do have disease or disability, addressing these problems is only going to help these as well. So we've got a self-management colour wheel, and this is just a really nice way of capturing, a nice simple way of capturing how our self-management is looking. So what we're going to ask you to do is to complete this just now, if we sent you a copy out, and if you could just sort of rate how you think you're managing in each of these areas. These are all of the areas that we will be covering within the group. So down here in the inner circle would be number 1, and out in the outer circle would be 10. So if my diet is excellent and I don't need to change it, I could colour this full piece in as being, you know, up to 10, my diet's fine. Exercise, I might find, oh, like I'm doing some, but you know, it could maybe improve, so I could mark it to here and colour in. Sleep might be pretty poor, so I could be colouring in here. So that here, this just gives you a really nice picture of how you're getting on. Social support, you want to think about, you know, how do you feel about the supports that you have around you? Is it supportive? Do you have enough people? Are those people helpful to you? Goal setting, are you setting goals in life? Are you kind of moving forward with the things that you want to achieve in your life? Are you able to address problems and solve them when they do occur? Meaningful activity, are you engaging in activities that are meaningful to you? So things that you get pleasure from, that are creative, that you want to be doing, that are value to you in your day-to-day life. And then just generally, how do you think you're coping with stress? This is a really useful way of just checking in with where you are right now and recognising that this can change day to day, week to week, depending on what is going on. But if you could capture that picture just now, it would be useful to see how that might change. And finally, I'm going to think about this cycle of change. So if we have an area of our life that needs change, we're aware it needs change, but you know, we're not in that place of actually doing anything about it. We might not be thinking about it. So if we take, for example, I'm not exercising enough, and I know I'm not reaching the sort of targets that are required to keep myself healthy. So it might be that I'm just not thinking about changing that. I know it's maybe an issue, but I'm not actually in that place of thinking about doing anything about it. But then what can happen is you might start to think about it, and it's like coming more and more into your mind to start thinking about the things that you could do, what about the possibilities, and we start to contemplate making a change. And then we can shift into this actually getting ourselves ready for making a change. So I've started thinking about exercising a bit more. I've thought about the kind of things that I would like to do, and then I start preparing myself for that. So it would be when I would go, what materials or clothing or the things that I need to do that, who I would do that with, when, properly prepare myself for it. Then I would go ahead and make the change. I'd take the action, and then I might just stay changed. So I might set myself a good routine, be enjoying that, and I'm able to keep going with that. But then things can happen and they can knock us off track, and we might slip back. So the important thing recognising here is that this sort of cycle of change happens to us all. You know, if we do pretty well here in terms of our readiness and preparation for change, it's going to increase our chance of maintaining that. But you know, things happen, and we can slip back. But the important thing being just recognise that that is just part of the process, and we can get back on that cycle again and make the change. In terms of attending our groups and why this is important is that, you know, we're going to be looking at sort of ways that you can make changes, and you know, the areas that maybe you need to focus on will be very individual. But it's important for you to be in that place of actually thinking about making change at least, you know, or you may actually be ready for it. However, if you're in a place of just not thinking about that, it's not really in the front of your mind, it's not a priority for you just now, then coming to the groups might not be the thing for you at this moment. And that's really important to acknowledge that, recognise that. However, if you are sitting watching this video, the chances are you probably are thinking about that just now. So, but either way, it's up for you to decide. And if you are ready for kind of making the change, then the groups would be ideal for you just now. I would look forward to having you.
Okay, so in terms of what we're able to offer, there's 4 groups, and each group lasts 3 hours long. They run on Tuesday and Wednesday mornings over a 2-week period, and that's from 9:30 to 12:30. So in total, that's 12 hours of evidence-based skills training. These will be delivered online, as we said, and they'll be done in a brain-friendly way. So we'll make them as engaging and as inviting and as interactive as possible to create a positive and safe environment for you. So in terms of the groups themselves, Marianne introduced you to the Pyramid of Needs, and this is the structure that we'll use to frame our groups on. So we'll start right at the bottom of the pyramid, and on our first group, we'll focus on these physiological needs. We'll think about our basic self-care in terms of our diet, our sleep and our exercise, and make the links between our physical health and our mental health. We'll also have a wee think about substances and what the impact on the pyramid of needs is going to be if we're putting stuff into our bodies. We'll continue to work our way up the pyramid, and on the second day we'll introduce you to the stress response, and that helps us think about what happens to our brains and our bodies when we're experiencing distress. And in terms of thinking about the safety of body and mind, at this point we'll introduce you to the Decider skills. These are a package of psychological skills based on cognitive behaviour therapy and dialectical behaviour therapy. And they're split into two halves, what we call acceptance skills and change skills. In this second group here, we're going to look at the acceptance skills. So this is distress tolerance, and that's how we tolerate times of crisis, times of distress, without making the situation any worse. So just getting through it in the safest way possible. And we'll also introduce you here to the mindfulness skills. So just remaining present, being aware, being grounded in our day-to-day lives. In the following week, we'll continue with the Decider skills, and we'll be looking more at the change skills. We're continuing to move up the pyramid here. We're thinking about how we are in our emotions, and we're looking at getting these kind of on a more even keel. So instead of our emotions being kind of up and down and running the show, we're looking at how we can regulate these in a really positive way. We'll also think about our relationships and our interpersonal effectiveness, so how we communicate with others. And that'll bring us to the end of the Decider skills. But we can have all the skills in the world, but we're still going to come across problems. So as part of this group, what we'll also do then is introduce you to a specific problem-solving strategy that you can use in day-to-day issues that might come up. As part of Group 4 on our final day, what we're really thinking then, now that we're kind of equipped with skills, is looking at our values and thinking about the activities that have meaning for us and what we would like our lives to look like if we were living in accordance with our values. And we'll do quite a creative exercise in that group, thinking about creating an image around a good average day. What would that look like for us? And we'll help you with some goal setting and that, introduce you to SMART goals so that we can start taking the steps that we need to move towards living in this way and reaching our full potential. Throughout the groups, what we'll do from day one right through to the end of the groups is be developing our crisis self-management plan. So at the end of your time with support and self-management, you'll have your own self-management plan that you can use in times of crisis. And we'll also direct you on to next steps. Where can you go from here? What other support can you access? In terms of materials, so you will receive your own skills pack, like this, that will be yours to keep. So once you've opted in, this will be sent out to you in the post, and you'll have that for working through the group. You'll need something to write with, a pen or a pencil, and as I mentioned, on the fourth group we do hope to do kind of a bit of a creative exercise with you. So if you want to gather coloured pens, pencils, maybe any magazines that you might have lying about, scissors and glue, they are all going to be helpful with that. Okay.
I'm going to take us through our attendance policy. So we hope that you are able to commit to all 4 groups. That way you're not going to miss any of the important and relevant information and content that we teach, as well as getting the most out of the whole group experience. So what we'll do is give you a choice of different dates of when to actually start the groups. That way you can choose what best suits you. However, if you just do not attend a group, we will automatically discharge you from the service at that point, knowing that there might be a better time for you, and at that point you can be re-referred to the service. But the most important point to get across here is please just keep in touch with us. Please just call us if you're needing to ever reschedule, cancel, or find other group dates that you can come along to. It's best if you just keep in touch with us, and we'll try and help you as best we can. So we have some group guidelines that help maintain the safety and the structure of the group. The first one being that we start on time at 9:30 in the morning, and obviously knowing that video calls take a bit longer to get logged into and all set up, so please give yourself plenty of time to do that and be ready and raring to go at 9:30 on the dot. We ask that mobile phones are off or on silent mode, but please do let us know if you have an important call to take, and obviously if you're using your mobile phone as a means of linking into the group, then it won't need to be on silent mode. We ask that you don't come under the influence of drugs or alcohol, as this will impact your learning. Participation is really essential for group skills training, so please come ready and willing to engage fully in the group, as that's what's going to make it a good experience for us all. And we have a zero tolerance policy for any threatening behaviour, and that way we can maintain the safety of ourselves and the group as a whole. We have our remote delivery agreement that you'll have separately on paper. Now, we ask that you please read over this agreement in full, and what we're going to ask is you to give us verbal or written consent if you wish to attend the groups and if you're happy with all of the information that's listed in the remote delivery agreement. But just to summarise the most important points in terms of the group, that for the online video consultation, you're going to need some equipment that includes a web camera, speakers or headphones, and a microphone. Now, a lot of these things are built into laptops, computers, tablets and mobile phones, but you can also buy these things separately if you feel that that would make your experience much better. But most modern devices do have all of these inbuilt if you've got access to one. If you're having any difficulty getting access to any type of equipment, then please let us know, get in touch with us, and we'll try and help you as best as we can. And just to consider where you're going to be located when you're using the video consultation for group sessions, ensuring that the environment is suitable for a clinical encounter, not having any animals or children jumping on top of you, as it's going to impact the group and your experience of it. So ensuring that you've got a nice, quiet, confidential space. Now we need to explore what if there is a crisis. Now, unfortunately, we are not a crisis service. We can't respond to every individual's crisis or experience, as we must really maintain the structure of the group and deliver the skills. That's what we're here to do. So crisis is really any type of emotional overwhelm, and if you're trying to communicate that to us by email, phone or any type of behaviour displayed in the online group, it's not going to be something we're going to be able to respond to. However, what we are going to be helping you with is finding ways, strategies, skills to be able to manage overwhelming emotions, feelings and distress. So in the long term, if you can stick with us, attend the groups, take on the skills that we're going to be teaching, it will hopefully help you learn how to manage a crisis and develop your own self-management plan. But in the short term, please make sure you know who you can contact, be that a friend or family member, someone that you trust, or a health professional, be that your GP or NHS 24, and there's always charities available if you need to speak to someone. So we're going to end this video on some quotes from past group members. These are people that have experienced the groups, and this is their feedback. So there's a lot about learning sort of useful techniques and skills to help manage our overall well-being, and finding that it's given them routine and confidence, that it's a safe place, and it teaches you to start and look at the basics rather than trying to deal with the really big stuff. And a lot of people want more of this type of work. So we'd like to be able to share our group with you. We fully believe in self-management skills, and what we're going to be doing. We apply them all as staff, and we hope that you'll get the benefit out of them and the group as a whole. So we hope that you're able to fully link into the group, and we look forward to welcoming you along to Supporting Self-Management very soon. Thanks very much. Bye.